Welcome. Thanks for joining me. Today's practice is going to focus on the sensation of breath. So you will have a little bit of controlled breath. You will have a little longer inhale, a longer exhale, and just kind of noticing how that brings you into your edge and out of your edge with each of these poses. Along with that sensation of breath, we're going to focus on the upper body. So arms, upper back, chest, spine. So we're going to be working in those areas today with our yin. We'll touch into our hips a little bit as well. But be mindful of your edge. Go to where you need to go. Definitely recommend having some blocks or some bolsters around for what you need later. Maybe eye pillow for Shavasana, blanket if you need it. We're going to start our seated meditation on our knees. So we're going to come to sitting on our heels. So if this doesn't feel good to sit on your heels, slide a block underneath. Drop that down so that you can find that comfortable position. If that still doesn't feel good, come to cross-leg. Don't worry about it. Once you've arrived onto those heels, settle in. Take a full inhale and let it go. Allow yourself to arrive into the space, onto your mat, and into your body. Connect with the sounds, the smells, the temperature of the air. Just bring yourself more into the present. Take a full inhale. And sigh it out audibly. As you do, let those shoulders draw away from the ears, lengthen up through the spine. Maybe even roll those shoulder blades a little bit more onto the back. Arrive into that physical body. Scan from head to toe, shoulders to fingers. And just acknowledge where your body is today, how it feels, what's happening. Honoring your body. We're going to do that upper body part. So working a lot with the arms today and the spine. Be mindful of anything that does not feel good. Remember, going to that edge, that place of discomfort that you can sit in for the time that we'll be there. We'll hold for about 3.5 minutes on each side. And if you need to come out and take any resting position that feels good before we move into the next pose. Taking a full inhale. And let it go. Dropping into that mental and emotional space. Just acknowledge what thoughts are bouncing around. So if you feel a little lethargic, maybe start to turn the palms up, receiving some of that energy around you. If you feel like your brain is overstimulated, that you're thinking a little bit too much, you have too much energy right now, turn those palms down on the thighs. Just kind of notice what happens to that energy level. In this month of June, when we have yin class and when we have our flow class, we're going to really focus on the breath. So really using that breath to help us. So not necessarily a forced inhale and exhale, but just seeing if you can allow your inhales and exhales to become a little bit longer, a little bit deeper naturally, and see how that affects the energy in the body. There will be some emphasis on the breath today. So it won't be natural breathing. You'll be actually thinking about your inhales and exhales. And that's going to help you anchor into the space. Just kind of notice what comes up. We have a few more rounds of breath here. Taking a moment to honor what brought you to your mat today. What is your intention for practice? If nothing comes up, maybe it's just to sit and breathe. Taking one hand over your heart, one hand over your belly. We'll set that intention as we open this practice together with the sound of Om or a sigh of the breath. Exhale fully here. Inhale. Oh. Release the hands. Lean forward onto those hands and knees. Stretch out the legs, one leg at a time. And let go of that energy in the legs. Notice that sensation. And then when you're ready, you have the choice. You can either lay all the way down onto your belly or take child's pose. So again, taking child's pose, which is going to feel best to you, maybe a little wider stance, maybe a little closer stance. We're just going to be here for about 5 or 6 breaths. So drop down, allow your forehead to rest on something, and just take 5 deep breaths, really expanding through the torso, really feeling yourself breathe not only toward the mat, but out toward your legs and up toward the sky. Letting go of any tension you might be holding in the neck and shoulders, in the jaw. Acknowledge and give some validity to any lingering thoughts. And those that are not going to assist you today in a positive way, give those some loving kindness and let them go as best as you can. One more full inhale and exhale. And then as you're ready, move yourself onto your belly. We're going to come into Sphinx pose or puppy pose. You have 2 options. Sphinx pose is where we are propped up slightly. Our elbows are underneath us. You're going to have the option to eventually maybe go into seal pose with those straight arms, but relaxing the glutes. That may get a little bit more into your low back, so be mindful of that. If you would rather do puppy pose, you're on your knees. You're going to reach those arms forward and then drop the head down. Arms are super engaged. So it's like that engagement of seal, but you're on your knees. So it's a little less in the low back. Try not to let your hips sink back or staying in Sphinx pose. I'm going to go with Sphinx pose just so I can talk a little bit more to you. So settle in. We'll be here for about 4 minutes since there's only one side. Good. Once you're in your pose, take a full inhale and side out. Just gently having your inhales and your exhales expand. Just kind of notice the energy that brings. If you're in Sphinx, you can allow your head and your chin to drop down toward your chest. Maybe rest your forehead on a block or a bolster. If you're in puppy pose, keeping the arms engaged, pressing through the palms, letting that forehead rest down onto the mat. We're going to be here just for a few more minutes if you're in Sphinx with me before we go into seal pose. I like to start with Sphinx sometimes just because it allows me to really drop in. I don't have to worry about my hips straight away. My legs are long. I can adjust however high I need to be to find my edge. That dropping down of the chin just allows me to just drop into the present moment, let go of what's been going on in the day, and connect more with myself. You can stay here with your elbows on the ground or press into the hands and start to straighten those arms. And again, shoulders are going to ride up toward your ears. You're going to try and relax the glutes as much as possible. And again, your head can either drop down or it can stay neutral. We're really targeting the shoulders and the spine here. And if you feel too much in that low back, allow yourself to come back down to Sphinx. And then using your breath. Notice how the breath on your inhales, it finds a little deeper edge. And on your exhales, how it allows you to drop into the pose a little bit more. Few more rounds of breath here. If you're in seal pose, slowly start to come back to Sphinx. If you're still in puppy pose, stay there. Just a couple more breaths. Make a full inhale. Sigh it out. If you're in puppy's pose, sit back to child's pose. If you're in Sphinx pose, taking out any blankets underneath you, lay your forehead on your hands and draw your left knee out to the side. If you are in child's pose, so slowly make your way onto your belly and just lay on your belly. Those that are on your belly already, take your left leg down, draw your right knee out to the side, and take a couple breaths. Slide that right knee down. Slide your hands by your side, press yourself up to your knees, taking either child's pose or sitting back on your heels, and just pause there. Kind of notice the sensations in the arms, in the spine. Allowing yourself to drop more and more into the present with your body, connecting body, breath, and mind. And slowly coming out of that, lean forward, maybe do a couple rounds of cat-cow to let all that go. Moving as slow and with that breath as much as possible. And then when you're ready, take a seated position. You may want to sit up on a blanket or a bolster to start. We're going to come into shoelace pose. So this is where we're going to target our outer hips. Our right leg is going to be on top first. So our left leg is going to come underneath. And then that right leg is going to come over the top. And so sitting up on something is just going to give you a little bit more space to allow those knees to stack on one another a little bit more. Maybe have your block handy. So we're going to do some stuff with our arms. And once you're there, just kind of settle in. Take a big inhale. Sigh it out. Just allow yourself to notice the sensations in the legs. If you need more sensation, feet can go away from the hips. You can drop yourself off of whatever you're on. That's definitely going to intensify that. And then kind of squeeze those inner thighs together for a moment. Just notice the engagement. And then as you exhale, relax that. Just kind of notice what happens in the legs, in the low back. We're going to start by twisting toward the right. So you're going to take that left arm and just kind of drape it over the right knee any little bit. It's nice and relaxed. And then that right hand can either stay on your right hip, maybe it goes behind you, maybe it rests on that block. So again, you're going to try and keep it as relaxed as possible. And instead of allowing your chin to drop down, see if you can lift your chin and just look the direction that your chest is facing. So just finding that gentle twist through the upper back. And again, find that breath. On your inhales, can your chest rise? And as you exhale, can you relax the shoulders a bit more? Either gazing down or allowing those eyes to close so that you can go more inward. Connecting with that subtle shift of this pose, noticing any little bit of spinal movement. Taking an inhale. On your exhale, unwind, come back to center, pause. We're going to go into a little bit of a side stretch. So taking that right arm out to the side, again, you can keep your arm straight. So you're targeting that shoulder. You can drop onto the elbow onto a block or the floor, really targeting that side waist on the left side. Let that right ear drop toward the right shoulder. And then today, instead of reaching our hand overhead, we're going to take that left hand and slide it behind us. So really targeting the neck here. So ear to shoulder. So chin still lifted. We're leaning to the right and that left arm is behind us. And again, tap into your breath. If at any time it becomes too much for your legs in this position, you'll just come sit to a cross-legged position or legs out straight, but continue with the arms with us. We'll have this stretch for our arms and one other one. Take a full inhale here. Let it go. Slide that left arm out. And then press into that bottom elbow to bring yourself up. And then lengthen up through the spine. Pause there. Good. Notice how the legs are. If you need to adjust, adjust. But then you're going to take your arms out in front. Take that left arm over the right. Give yourself a big hug. Just kind of notice how that feels. So you're drawing the shoulder blades away from one another. You can stay here with your hands wrapped around your shoulders, or maybe bring the backs of the hands together for eagle, or maybe slide that right hand into your left palm. And then let the fingers relax here. Normally in other yoga, we're making them nice and strong. Just let them relax. Draw your chin to your chest, and then start to draw your elbows toward your legs. Maybe they rest on your chest. Maybe they draw into your belly. Maybe those hands touch your knees. Maybe they don't, but just rounding down. So getting into the arms. So if finding eagle bound doesn't work, keep holding onto those shoulders. Continue to round down. And notice how your breath affects this pose. Really compressing the front side of our body. expanding through the back body. Take a full inhale. Sigh it out. Slowly start to lengthen the spine. And then slowly start to unwind the arms. Pausing there. And then using your arms to help bring that top knee up. Slide it out. Bring that bottom knee up. Kind of come into a little tuck position. Wrapping those arms around the legs, rounding forward. Pause there. I'm going to take the legs out long. Just give them a little shake. Notice the arms, maybe give them a little shake. And when you're ready, we'll go the other side. So the right leg will be underneath. The left leg will be on top. Take your time getting into it. Remember, both sides aren't going to be the same, especially right at the beginning. Block will slide over to that left side if you're using it. And then once you've arrived in your shoelace pose with the legs, take a big inhale. Sigh it out. And drop down into those legs. Just notice the sensations here. Notice if you need any other props. And we'll take our first little upper body motion. You're going to twist to the left. So take that right arm, just kind of drape it over the left leg, wherever it goes. You're going to start to find that little rotation. And then again, that left hand can just stay on the thigh. It can start to work its way behind you, but you're not really pressing into it. You're just allowing yourself to rotate to where you stop. And then our gentle tendency is to chin drop down. See if you can lift the chin. Keep it parallel to the floor, so nice long spine. And then allow the breath to help you go in and out of this pose. So it's not a deep edge for the upper body. We're still settling into the legs. But our breath can help us kind of move that upper back into a little bit of rotation of the spine. A gentle twist. See if with your left hand, the hand that's behind you, see if you can even open the palm and turn it up and see what happens through the shoulders. See if that allows for any different rotation in the spine. Take a full inhale. Sigh it out. Slowly unwinding, bring yourself back to center. Pause there. And then going to that side stretch, you're going to take that left hand to the side. So again, you keep it straight, or you can start to bend into it. And getting into that side stretch, let that left ear drop to the left shoulder. And then that right arm is going to slide behind you. So just let the palm be open. Back of the hand or back of the forearm is on that low back or hip. And again, breathing into that right side. Right side waist, right neck. Allowing yourself to kind of lean into that left elbow. Again, allowing that breath to help you go in and out of the pose a little bit more. Noticing what you feel on the inhales, what sensations you notice on the exhales. Take a full inhale. Side out. Mindfully take that right arm out first. And then slowly press yourself up, lengthening the spine, and just pause there. And taking those arms out. This time that right arm on top of the left. Give yourself a big hug to start. Just kind of cupping around the shoulders, let those arms drop down. Just kind of notice that sensation. And then if you feel like maybe backs of hands can come together, maybe that right fingertips finding the left fingertips finding the right palm. I'll twist it up here. And then you start to drop the elbows, drop the chin, and then start to round the spine. You're going to notice different sensations along the spine, into the back body. And again, lengthening and deepening that breath a little bit. Noticing what you notice on the inhales. What sensations you feel on the exhales. A few more rounds of breath here. Take a full inhale. Side out. Slowly lift the spine. And then slowly unwind those arms, pausing there for a moment. Using the assistance of the arms, draw that top knee up, slide that leg out, grunting and groaning, toe appropriate. Second side's always hard. And then bottom leg. And then just pause there or extend the legs. If your legs need to extend, please do. Again, honoring your body. If your legs aren't extended already, go ahead and extend them. Bring back some movement into the legs. Ooh, goodness. It's like I've never done that pose today. So the next one, we warmed up our arms a lot. We're really going to target the front of the chest, the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists on this next one. If this one isn't going to be very happy for you, you'll take a reclined pose and kind of sphinx pose, but thread your arms so you're laying on your belly. So you'll do that one if this seated one isn't going to work for you. So from here, you're going to have that seated position. You're going to take your right ankle, cross it over your left knee. So you're kind of in that figure four. And you're going to walk your hands back. So being mindful of how your elbow feels, your either fingers are going to point backwards or your fingers will point out to the side. right? So make sure both hands are the same. You're gonna walk those back until you start to kind of feel something in your chest. Your chest is kind of lifted, arms are straight and locked. And then you're gonna start to bend the elbows for a moment so that you can take that bottom leg and bend it. And then straighten the arms again. And then over time, maybe you walk that foot in so you get a stretch, or you're gonna press into those arms that are nice and straight, lift your hips and slide your hips toward your foot. That's gonna intensify that upper body stretch. So you have a little bit of lower body. And if this doesn't feel good, take that out, leave it here, focus on the upper body. So you have a little bit different places to be. And then you're just gonna settle in and breathe. Again, we're not gonna be here too long because it's a very intense stretch. See if you can relax the jaw and shoulders. Chin can drop toward that chest. A lot of targeting of the shoulder, elbow, wrist joints here. Those heart and lung meridians running along the inside and outside of the arms. We're getting a lot of compression. Feeling a little bit of that heart chakra and throat chakra here. Just using your breath. Acknowledging sensations with the in-breath and sensations with the out-breath. It is slightly, maybe a tingling sensation, like your fingers might be going to sleep. That is normal. It's that compression that we're having of that brachial nerve that runs down the arm. We're not going to be here much longer, but if that doesn't feel good, lessen the pose by moving the hips back or moving that foot forward. A couple more rounds of breath here. Big inhale. Side out. To come out of it, take that left foot, walk it forward. Bend into the elbow so you can take the opposite leg out. And then come all the way down onto your back. Reach those arms forward, come all the way onto your back. And pause there. Relax the shoulders, relax the arms. So we're going to get into that left leg a little bit, but we're going to do the arms just slightly different. So less in the wrists, but still in the shoulders. So from here, bend the knees, press into those hands, and then press yourself up onto your elbows. Walk the elbows back behind you. So you can turn your palms up, you can turn your palms down. Your elbows can be wide, they can be narrow. The more narrow they are, the more targeting in the shoulder. And then taking that left ankle over the right knee, and then start to bend that right leg. And then you can press into the right foot, press into the elbows, and lift the hips, slide yourself closer to your foot for a little bit deeper targeting of that shoulder. And breathe into it. Relax that left leg. Maybe drop chin to chest. Big targeting of the shoulders. Breathing into it here. Just kind of notice the different sensations that you have compared to the previous pose with arms straight. About 30 more seconds here. I always feel like time goes a little bit faster on this one because it's not as intense. It's different sensations. But when the wrists are less impacted for me, I feel like time goes faster. Take a full inhale. Side out. And slowly take that right foot, walk it forward. Uncross the left leg. Press into the feet so that your hips can come back toward your hands. And then extend the legs, extend the arms, lay down onto your back and pause. Either resting the hands on your belly or taking those arms wide, let the palms turn up. Just kind of notice the sensations that are happening in those arms. Give yourself a big stretch. Reach those arms back behind you. Circle the wrists. Point and flex through the feet. So we're going to come into a twist. So if you have a certain type of twist you want to go into, you're more than welcome to. We're going to roll onto our left side to start. So we're going to come all the way on. So we're going to really target the upper body a little bit more. So your upper shoulder, your top shoulder may not touch the ground. If you need support, slide that behind your spine so you have that. And then from here, if you want a little bit more extra outer hip going on, you're going to take that top leg and slide it underneath that bottom knee. So it's going to kind of anchor that leg down. And then take that right arm, lift it up to the sky, and then start to take that right arm out to the right. And so that right arm might hover, totally fine. Left arm is going to expand. So if you need to slide a block or something under that right shoulder or right forearm, let yourself do that. If you need to let your legs lift, let that happen. But get into the place where you feel that edge. Chin's going to look directly up to the ceiling, pressing the back of the head into the floor slightly. Take a full inhale. And then as you exhale, let everything melt toward the floor. Let your muscles grow heavy. Allow your breath to rise and fall into the chest, the belly, the ribs. Allow yourself to deepen into that edge. Again, continue to notice what you notice. You start to feel that little pins and needles in that right arm again. It might be that your arm is lifted too high toward your head, so you can slide more a little bit toward your hips. That'll stop that pinching of that nerve that runs underneath that collarbone across the shoulder head. If that still doesn't get rid of it, you can take your right hand to your right shoulder, and that should help. About 1 more minute here. Take a full inhale here. Side out. Taking that right hand, bring it to your right shoulder. Draw that right shoulder over toward the left shoulder. If your legs are crossed, uncross them. Curl yourself into a little ball using that left arm as a pillow. And take a couple deep breaths here. Noticing the sensation through the spine in that top shoulder and top leg. And then allowing yourself to come onto your back again. Pausing there, maybe extending the legs, giving yourself a long stretch to let go of that side. And when you're ready, start to bend those knees again. Bring yourself all the way over onto your right side. And again, if you crossed your legs before, that top leg's just going to slide underneath that bottom leg anywhere that feels good. And then starting to take that left arm, extend it up to the sky. And then start to bring it back behind you, allowing yourself to prop up on any blocks or bolsters that you need to for support. And extend that right arm out. And then take a full inhale here. And as you exhale, settle into this twist. Allowing your chin to be looking up toward the ceiling, or I guess lifting toward the ceiling, not looking. Allow your eyes to close down so you can go more inward. And again, notice the sensations that your breath creates on the in-breath and on the out-breath. Just dropping more and more into stillness, into noticing sensations. Continuing to let your breath guide those sensations. Few more rounds of breath here. Take a full inhale. Sigh it out. Start to bring that left hand toward your left shoulder. And starting to draw that left arm back over to the right. Use that right arm as a pillow. Uncross the legs if you've crossed them. Curling into a little ball and just pause there. Noticing the sensations. Then mindfully make your way onto your back. Draw those knees back to center. And then again, once again, maybe take that long stretch. Maybe moving the legs in any way that you need, windshield wipers, maybe a happy baby. Just kind of doing what you need to do so that you can settle into stillness, into a restful position. That position might be on your back. It might be on your belly, your side. It might be seated today. It's a place where you can come to stillness. A place where you can just let your whole body surrender and absorb the energy you created. Space where you can acknowledge the sensations in the body, maybe even feel a different sense of energy running through the body. Once you've found your position of rest and restore, take a full inhale. Let it go. Let that breath return to normal. I'll bring you out of Shavasana with the sound of my voice. Take rest. Take a full inhale. And as you let it go, notice if you need to stay here a little longer. If you do, stay here, tune me out, and enjoy your restoration. If you feel that you have been restored and you are ready to move, start to grow your breath a little bit more and bring some movement into the fingers and toes, into the wrists and ankles. And then growing that into the arms and legs, maybe even giving yourself another long stretch. And then slowly bending the knees if you're on the ground. And then take any movements you need to. Continue to bring that circulation back to the body. And before you sit up, roll over onto one side and just pause there. Acknowledge the sensations in the body. Notice what's happening in the mind. And then as you're ready, mindfully press yourself up. Wow. Come up to seated if you're already seated. Lengthen the spine a little bit more. Allow the eyes to be closed or looking down. Just allow yourself to come into the space, onto your mat, into your body. Once again, connecting into the present moment with the body, the mind, and the breath. Acknowledging the intention that you had set for showing up to your practice today and honoring that. And honoring the breath. Each breath is special. Each breath can help in some way. And take that sensation of breath with you off your mat into whatever you have in store for you for the rest of your day. Allow one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. We'll close this practice with that sound of Om or a sigh of the breath. Exhale fully. Inhale. Om. You're keeping hands where they are, pressing palms together at the heart center. Taking a moment, think of one thing in your life you truly are grateful for. Hold on to that image in your mind's eye as you raise your head with a smile. Thanks for being here. Drink lots of water, eat your veggies or sunblock. Namaste.